of us came from Africa, but a lot of the people here already came from Africa before, thousands of years ago, before
thousands
they
of years
migrated over
ago.
here. So
Hmm.
now, are the genetics African? Yes, but the culture is not. You see what I'm saying? So people, when they migrate, they develop their own unique cultures. So it's not like all melanated people are from Africa, but the difference is they try to tell you that all the black people that are in the Americas today are originally all from the Africas. That's not true. A lot of us were already here. A lot of us came here as well. The slave trade did happen,
Yes.
but it's not like it happened. All the people here were like some, the way they portray a lot of the natives to look like. And oh, by the way, if you look at a lot of the natives, have anybody ever seen the picture of
The,
Geronimo Platt or Sitting Bull? Those guys are
no,
literally what you would call a light skinned black person. Literally. You know what I mean?
I
Literally.
need to. I
If you
don't
look at,
know.
if you Google,
There's a guy that
Geron-
I follow on Instagram. He
mm,
actually went into his family records and he found where over time his family member was changed from Native American
right.
to mulatto to
Hmm.
Negro.
Exactly. So the point
He
is,
proved it.
and this is what I want for even a guy like Dane Calloway. I want for people like him to
I
understand
love
this.
him.
Yes, I don't like him because he
What?
negates the fact that yes, there were black people here, but he also disrespects our ancestors by saying that there was not a slave trade. You know what I mean? That is
I mean, it
disrespectful
wasn't
because
extent. He's not saying
people
that it
Right.
died.
wasn't. He said it wasn't as big as it was. And it only went to certain places.
Well,
You could.
I'll tell you one thing. Over
Okay. Okay.
500,000 came from Africa, and a whole lot of them went to like Brazil. The biggest slave colony
Brazil.
was in
Yeah.
Haiti, Haiti and Brazil, those two. But the third biggest was North America, right? So
Well, yeah.
the point is, there were already blacks here, but they also brought in a
Hmm.
whole lot of blacks from over there too. So what they want to tell you is you got to pick and choose. But the truth is, the blacks here had civilizations as well, just like the blacks in Africa had civilizations, and the blacks in Haiti had civilization, and the blacks in Brazil had civilizations. They want to separate you from your civilizations by either saying you're not black or you're not native or you're native but not black. They're not mutually exclusive. They're the same shit. Like they're the same shit. You know what I mean? Um, you look at these people and you could clearly see. I got you, by the way, Haitian God, that they are melanated people. Like this, it's clear as day, right? So what they'll tell you, well, oh yeah, but you don't have the Indian hair. What the fuck is Indian hair? You go to Africa, a good quarter of the people there got the same. Have anybody seen the Ethiopians, Eritreans? They got
Hmm.
the same
Oh
hair.
yeah.
Like so, there's no such thing as black hair, Indian
But
hair.
yeah, but
It's
they were
melanated.
rape. They were mixed too. Those people are mixed too.
A lot of
Cause
people
then the
are
people.
mixed, but if you look at
Okay. Go ahead.
Africa
I'm
though, there's
sorry.
52. My bad. There's 52 countries in Africa. A lot of them look different. Africa's a
Yeah.
continent. You know what I'm saying? So they try to make the quote unquote African American image to be a thug, the Haitian image to be some dirty poor person, or the African person to be just some little, whatever image they want to give them. Like they
Hmm.
all got this. No, that's nonsense. You know what I mean? Okay, no
You're
doubt.
cool.
Mhm.
Can I say
Go
something
ahead,
real
bro.
quick?
Oh yeah, go ahead. My bad, bro.
What do you? There's
Oh
another
my
thing
God.
when it comes to like say reparation, right? What
Hmm.
year did slavery was emancipated? Was it 1779?
No, no, no.
No.
1779 is the independence. It was
Eight.
1864, I believe. Emancipation happened 1864.
Okay.
But emancipation is not freedom, though.
Wait, wait, because after that time, you have a group of Africans that travel to United States to come to work, and they have birth children there, right?
Hmm.
Okay, that from that year, you got a group of slave descent that is separate
Hmm.
from that those who claim they also Americans. Remember that
Hmm.
they are not part of
Right.
the reparation. The one that are
Hmm.
part of the reparation is those that from that emancipation
Hmm.
period go back to Haiti. You see, now a lot
Well,
of them that claim, oh yeah, I'm American, this and that, rejecting their background. When it comes to that calculation, a lot of them will not be part of that because they are not part of the slave. Their last name still from their backgrounds, just like Obama.
reparations should be given to. Well, Obama is not part of reparations. Obama's father
No,
is from Kenya. His mother's white, so he's not a.
correct.
Oh, yeah, he's not a American descendant of slave. He's
Okay.
not a foundational Black American, so he should
Yeah. So
definitely not qualify.
all those that are like him that apply to them too. So therefore, there is a different thing. That's
Well,
why a lot
the
of
the thing is, they see, but that's the thing though, right, Haitian God? They do that to try to divide. Um, Here's the thing: they should not get reparations. Let me explain. If you are not a true American descendant of slave, see, the American descendant it doesn't mean that you just your history consists of just with slavery. But the point is, you went through a pain, and you went through a hardship, and you were wronged. Um, See, the thing is, Haitians in America, like example, me and you, we don't deserve reparations from America because we deserve something else. We deserve from France, and we deserve payment from the U.S.
that's
But we don't.
oh yeah,
But we
that's
don't deserve
correct.
reparation. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
because we're
that's
not.
it.
You know what I mean? Like we're not the people that built this country. I mean, we participated in terms of the wars and different cities. That's why I said there should be a certain payment,
Our deal is
but
the
it should.
French.
Yeah,
We don't have
well,
nothing
not
with
just
the
from the
with America.
France. Right, but I'm
We have
saying not
nothing
just from the France.
at all. Yep, correct.
No, but
You are correct.
no, no, we do have something to do with America because, like I said, we founded certain
I
cities and
mean,
stuff like that. But
yeah,
point is, what?
not with reparation.
Yeah, no, no reparations should be given to Black Americans because they are the ones that overwhelmingly suffered. Um, their cities are bombed. Um,
Yep,
you know what I mean.
yep,
So
yes,
yeah,
my brother.
and here's the thing though, if the United States was to give reparations to Black Americans, now it could turn around and force France to give reparations back to Haiti. So it's a domino effect. So I always tell Haitians we should push for Black Americans, true Black Americans, to get reparations because once they get their reparations, well, then France will have no choice but to pay reparations to Haiti. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody
Mm-hmm.
else got their shit. Everybody else got their shit. The Japanese got their shit. The Jews got their
Mm-hmm.
shit. The quote unquote Native Americans got their shit. So why the fuck are
The
Black
church,
Americans not getting it, and why Haitians aren't getting it? You know what I mean? So
the Church of England had about they have discovered the Church of England had about 400 slaves that demand reparation. So everything is coming up to the surface. The world is changing right now.
I see you, Babo, but you sound far.
Oh no, yeah, I was kind of whispering because I'm trying to figure out if these fire people want me to move out of their way. They got their lights and sirens
Oh,
on.
okay. Oh, my
I don't
bad,
know,
my
but
bad.
he like,
Right. So I think it's important that people, if they could trace their family lineage, uh, they definitely, and this is why these topics get dangerous because people want it's so complicated, right? You know, you got a lot of people that are not descendants of slavery in America that are either from Africa, Haiti, Jamaica, or they would say, oh, well, what about us? Well, you're a separate category because you're not exactly the people that suffered long term over the course of centuries in this country. So how can you want to take a piece of something that is theirs? You know what I mean? And as a Haitian American, I could honestly say, I could tell the truth, and the truth is, we don't get reparations. They do. We get reparations from France. We might get a special payment or
can I
something from
can I
America,
say
but
something
we
real
shouldn't be
quick?
getting the
Because
reparations.
this is
Yeah,
what I
yeah, go ahead.
think. I agree. Obviously, the trajectory
Mhm,
of the oppression that has taken place here, the bulk of that conversation should definitely be attributed to American descent of slaves, right?
yep.
And
Hmm.
yes, I agree. Like both my parents' lineage are not here in this America, but
Hmm.
in Central America, right? And so we should
Hmm.
be seeking, like in Honduras, there was British rule, there was Spanish
Hmm.
rule, right? And so we should be looking there, Panama, Spanish, etc. So
Hmm.
here's the part where I kind of deviate a little bit, right? That the arc of oppression did not begin and end with slavery. We are still in the arc
Well, yeah,
right
of course.
now.
Right.
Right now, there's still layers of oppression that exist that stem from all the way back. There's still laws on the book that were created during slave time.
Yep.
Right now, there are labor laws in effect that are still based on slavery right
Hmm.
now, right? So I feel like there should be like an algorithm that breaks up the level and the volume that your lineage probably experienced in that arc.
Right. Um, I agree to a certain extent. Yes, I agree. I think that you know, which is why I say like there should be different categories. Um, and I agree with you. You know, like
As a matter of
because
fact,
ultimately,
hope
mhm,
uh, during my time in the States, they had brought a subject over that same issue. They had a book. They got a book with everybody's name in the United States. But the Haitian book by the French, it's no longer existed because we just, you know what I'm saying, we only use their language to do business, international business. You know what I mean?
yeah, the
But
French language,
we no
yeah,
longer have in that book. We allow to change our last name whenever we just, you know, that there's a lot of children that born in the countryside. They have no last name, no birth certificates, right?
nothing
But
like that. Hmm.
exactly. But in America, they can trace everybody who have their last name who used to be their owners.
Yeah.
That dude, Denzel Washington, and all of them
Hmm.
actors talking about that issue about tracing DNAs and shit, and then they brought it up. It was
Mm.
Hmm.
like, let's go back to see who it was the owner of your family, and they find
Well,
out
they're not.
it's a
Hold on, time out. I don't like that word owner. Who was the oppressor of your family? Who was the kidnapper of your family? Who was the murderer of your family? Who was
you
the
have to speak.
thief, the
You have to
rapist? Let's
you have
call them
to
what they
speak on
are.
a level to this
Okay,
to
cool. I like
oops
that better.
their iniquity.
Because ain't nobody owned us. What they did was they oppressed us. They stole us. You know what I mean? Stole our land, stole our children. You know, let me tell you something. America doesn't have enough money to pay reparations. Because let me tell you something. It's still ongoing. Okay?
Land.
They don't trust me when I tell you this. If they did, then the social hierarchy would change overnight. And that's why they've been avoiding it for so long. Because quite frankly, every descendant of slavery was supposed to get 40 acres and a mule. Well, there's at least 30 plus something million black Americans. So do that times
Damn,
40
cool.
acres.
You
There's
sound
no
like you
possible
ready
And
to
way.
they
free
gave
us
it to the
now.
Europeans instead.
Mhm. Right. All those $5 Indians need to get
Didn't
back the
even
land.
stick with that.
Say what? Okay. Um, all those
On that.
$5 so-called Indians, you good need to give up the land that's not theirs. The U.S. government needs to basically repay. First of all, the federal government needs to start paying, and the local state governments. All those people that were convicted of weed, there's a couple 100,000 of them in prison, and now you make weed legal. You need to pay these niggas a lot of money. Okay, straight
That's a
up. So let's
fact
just start with
right
that.
there.
All the families that you separated, and I'm not even going back hundreds of years. I'm just talking about within the last 50 years. You need to pay them. The crack epidemic that destroyed these communities, you need to
Mm.
pay every single last one of the people who's affected. So there's so many
Mm-hmm.
different levels of reparations they got to pay. Let me tell you something. They owe pretty much every single black American maybe millions, every single one of them. So I'm just letting you know how much in debt this country is. This country is in debt to China a couple trillion, right? They're in debt to black Americans at least a couple trillion as well. So this economy doesn't move without these people, but yet you marginalize. See, here's the thing, right? Here's the problem I do have with Black
Mm-hmm.
Americans is that I, as a person who's of Haitian descent, without even really writing this thing down, I could just easily just put it forward because I don't care if you're Muslim, if you're Moor, if you're Hebrew Israelite. I don't give a fuck about all that bullshit. I care whether or not you are a Black American or a Haitian, right? And at the end of the day, these people owe you guys so much money. And France owes Haiti 22 billion. 'Dollars. 22 billion. Dollars. But I promise you, America owes Black Americans at least 5 times that shit. Okay.
Okay.
Um. So they need to pay. You know what I mean? Um. And the problem is they feel like if they give you reparations and you don't take that money and throw it back on them and their economy, they just lost. So if they gave you reparations and you decide to say, you know what, we're not buying Gucci, Prada, we don't give a fuck about showing off.
Okay.
We're going to buy homes, build our own banks, collect our money together, do our own. It's over with. The social hierarchy in this country changes. Now you have negotiating power where you, as a collection of people, just like Israel does, just like the Latinos do, just like the Asians do, you could negotiate with
Right.
foreign countries. I mean, Israel has something called APAC. Let me explain something to you what APAC is, guys. Every U.S. president has to go through APAC and stand there and say what they're going to do for the Jews, the people in Israel. Thank you, Rainbow. No other group gets that. Oh, my bad. Then they got to go to the Muslims and do the same thing. Then they got to go to some of the Asians and do it. The only group of people that don't get represented like that are the blacks, right? I mean, hell, I see the Haitians. The president comes down here. He goes to Little Haiti. He goes to other. You, when a motherfucker like Hillary Clinton decides to go to South Carolina and starts to try to talk like an old Negro slave in a church,
No,
somebody
she
stick a
didn't.
broom. Oh, dead ass. You ever seen that tape, the videos? Oh
No,
my
my
goodness.
God, no, I'm
Yo,
scared.
Hillary Clinton changed her whole voice trying to sound like a Southern slave, man. This shit
Shut the
ridiculous.
fuck up.
Because,
I gotta go
be,
look that up.
hmm because that's what she perceives black people to be. You know what I mean? Oh,
Mhm.
honey child. I'm like, what the fuck? Like
Shut the
this woman was
fuck up.
dead ass. You know what I mean?
Mm.
And dead ass. You know what I mean? So when you got a guy like Trump who runs around here calling people shithole countries, but yet his clothing are being made in what he called shithole countries. There's a blatant
Mhm.
hypocrisy there. So they look. If we really want to talk about reparations, guys, let me explain something to you guys. Europe and the U.S. and Canada, they owe so much reparations to people around the world that it's like they will never do it out of their own free will because it would bankrupt them. If you take a
Right.
look at Europe, right? France, England, Spain, Portugal, Germany, Austria, Belgium, for sure Belgium, the Netherlands, the Dutch, uh, Italians. Well, not so much Italians, but they're in there too. Um, they got wealthy by colonizing Africa and colonizing other places around the world that were full of black people. So they owe reparations to every single melanated people around the world. This is not a joke. Like Great Britain owes Jamaica hundreds of
Mm.
billions.
Oh, I
They
know.
owe India
India
trillions.
too.
They owe India trillions. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like they owe Nigeria, all these other countries in Africa trillions. So truth be told, the reparations thing, the reason why they don't want to pass it in America to blacks is because it's going to have a chain reaction where every other nation on earth has to pay reparations to blacks. And no other group of people in the history of mankind has been taken advantage of more than black people. Period. Point blank.
That's a fact.
Temperature said,
and if you go to
come on up
Pakistan
here,
or
temperature.
India, in
Mm
the darkest ones get oppressed too.
hmm. Yeah. Mr. Temperature or Miss Temperature, I'm gonna invite you up here. Come on up here. Um, I might be wrong about some facts. Maybe you could enlighten me. Uh, they're called the untouchables. Now, do you understand how the level of disrespect that is? To call somebody an untouchable. Um, somebody said it would destroy supremacy. That's true, and that's why they don't want to do it. It's because they're scared. You know, they've done so much dirt and so much fuck shit. Let me give you guys a good example of reparations. Take a good look at me, right? When I went that shit that I did, that was on the news, the scamming. Well,
Mhm.
I'm paying restitution, which is, by the way, a form of reparations, right? Guess what, though?
Right.
Uh, between having to pay the IRS so much money I had to pay them, paying the state all that money I had to pay them, going to prison to do my time, paying the state there, coming back paying restitution to a bunch of people, it bankrupted me, destroyed it. So now imagine if I didn't have to pay those people. I
Mm.
just kept living a great life, right? Yeah,
Right.
no, yeah, you got to pay the piper. So if
Yeah.
I had to pay reparations, or well, they call it restitution. Um, yes, I didn't say the Creole culture is 100% Haitian, but a lot of it is. I mean, who's the most? Does anybody know who the most popular person in the history of Louisiana is?
Oh no.
Sir, I don't play semantics with the word, sir. We know what I mean by Creole. It's a person named Marie Laveau, right?
Oh, that
Marie
prostitute
Laveau,
lady.
she was, yeah, well, yes, she was an
She had a
escort.
house. Mm-hmm.
Yes, but more importantly,
She
she
had a
was a
beautiful
voodoo,
house.
and she's a Haitian person. So check this out. Marie Laveau
She's
was
buried
a
in
voodoo
France, isn't
mumbo.
she?
No, she's buried in Louisiana, and in her tomb is actually a tourist attraction. You know what I'm saying? Um, the reason why the Creole culture is what it is, temperature, is because Louisiana was occupied. I busted her house. I busted her house. It's a museum. I have no idea what you mean by that. Okay. Cool. Um, the reason why Louisiana is what it is because the descendants of the French that were there mixed with the blacks that were there, they had their own Creole understanding. Oh, you visited, yes. But if you look at the history of that, a lot of them had fled to Louisiana from Haiti. And
Mm-hmm.
what happened was when they went down there, they petitioned the U.S. government to give them land, give them, stated status and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And the U.S. government gave them a lot of money, but they were not. They were the whiter ones, the lighter skinned ones, right?
Yeah.
Or the descendants of the slaves that were treated well.
Yeah.
And they
Yeah.
went over there and
Okay.
yeah, and they continued on their lineage. You know what I'm saying? Well, their shit. That's why
Mm-hmm.
Louisiana still has some of the harshest laws. It is from those people. You know what I'm saying? And
Well.
what happened is when I talk about the Louisiana Purchase, it's not just the state of Louisiana. It literally is almost half of the United States that encompasses all those states. You know what I'm saying? Because they were all occupied by French. The United States was only 13 colonies who became a country. But
Right.
after the Louisiana Purchase, when Napoleon could not maintain its fleet in the Americas, it had no choice but to sell so it could maintain its war in Europe. But the only reason, my God, this guy, it's hoodoo and voodoo. Let me just tell you the truth. Hoodoo is a watered down version of voodoo, saying like Santeria, okay? Um,
Uh,
yes, it's not just, I mean, come on now. Hoodoo, voodoo, they same practices. It's just a watered down version. Ifa is the original, um, and Ifa comes from Guinea, and then in Benin they call it voodoo. In Haiti we call it voodoo. In the Spanish-speaking countries they call it Santeria. In Brazil they call it sambo, and of course in the Americas you call it hoodoo. Look where hoodoo comes from. You could just literally Google where hoodoo comes from. It'll tell you it comes from
mm-hmm.
voodoo, Haitian voodoo.
Voodoo.
So it's there's no difference in hoodoo and voodoo, my friend. The differences are so minute. It's like saying, what's the difference between a Baptist and a Pentecostal? They both believe in Christ, right? But the original of that shit is Catholicism. And but before Catholicism was Coptic Christians, Coptic Christians. Um, you if without voodoo there'll be no hoodoo. You get that? Without Ifa, there'll be no voodoo either. There's a lineage, but they all are same forms of African spirituality. You know what I mean? Um, but a lot of it's just different names. So in Brazil they call it samba, right? Look, dude, if you're gonna come up, come up. I keep talking to you in the comments, and clearly, um, we could, come up here and we could substantiate this shit. I'm tired of talking to you in the comments. They're not intervening in interwoven practices. Did I say that? I said one comes from the other. Which what is the difference between hoodoo and voodoo? Do they not have the core understandings of
Right. I understand where you're
ancestral
coming
worship?
from.
Yo, pay him
Like
no
this
mind.
guy, yeah, he's
Yeah,
like,
because he's fucking up the flow. You was
right,
Yeah,
he's
flowing.
fucking,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. We'll mute you if you keep interrupting, or you could come up here. Don't be an idiot. But
Yeah,
anyways,
he's fucking up your flow.
right,
I
right.
hate people
Let
that
me
act
know,
like they
cool.
know more. You know more.
Huh?
Shut the fuck up and listen then.
Or come up.
Let
You know
me
what I'm
know.
saying?
Let
Just
me
come
know.
up.
Yeah.
No, you good. You good. So here's the thing. Hmm. I encourage people in America that are black. If you can't come up, then shut the fuck up. How does that sound? I encourage people that are in America that are black to seek other forms of spiritual understanding. What you call the
Yes.
shamans, look into what they practice. Look what uh, different other. Well, that's fine. You don't gotta be disrespectful. I am actually. I'll be disrespectful enough for both of us. How about that? Because you're interrupting me. It's annoying. Um, look into other forms of spirituality, but more importantly, my biggest form of spirituality is called pride.
Mm.
Pride of who the fuck I am. See, the problem that
Hello.
happened in America is this, right? In America, the corporations that are not generally owned by blacks are dictating the culture.
Yes.
And it's so sad because check this out. If you look at jazz, right, rock and
Mm.
roll, country music, the blues, they're predominantly white.
Mm.
They were created by blacks. What the fuck? This is
Correct.
your
Mm-hmm.
culture.
Correct. Fact.
You know what I'm saying? Like Elvis Presley literally studied black artists, man. You know what I mean? Like, period. You know what I'm saying? And they
Right.
call him the king of rock and roll. How is he the king of rock and roll when you got Fats Dominoes, Chubby Checkers, Little Richard? Are you serious? Muddy Waters? This
Muddy
nigga can't even hold a
waters.
candle to these people, bro.
Mm,
You know what I'm
mm,
saying?
mm, mm.
And it's like, are you
He
serious
can't.
right now?
Sure.
He's a watered down version. That's why I've always liked the Eagles and the Beatles because even though they copied black culture, they've always given praise to these guys. That hey, without them, we wouldn't
Mm.
be doing what we're doing right now. Elvis Presley doesn't do that type of shit. You know what I'm saying? And Elvis Presley's a scumbag and a pedophile too, by the way. While we're at
Yeah,
it,
a pedophile,
you know what
big
I mean?
ass fucking pedophile.
You know what I mean? A
I can't
drug
believe
addict.
they
I
had
mean,
this nigga on. Man, that nigga was the
scumbag.
biggest pedophile on earth.
Yes. And
On
they
camera,
yeah, blatantly right into your face.
right in your
You know what I'm
face.
saying? And a racist too, by the way. So since we're
Yeah,
in
he
there,
said, "Can't nothing a nigga do for me but shine my shoes."
yeah. So a guy like that, uh, who is a bastardized version of our music. I mean, it's sad to me. So in America, you know how many rappers are awesome rappers, got more skills than anybody else? But what they do is who owns the corporations? The people that own the corporations that give you subsidiary corporations. If you look at Bad Boy Records, uh, what's that? What's all these other record labels, right? They're not
Mm-hmm.
100% black owned.
No, they're not.
And on top of that, here's the crazy part about it. There's no black owned distribution company in the United States. Not one. Not
Wow.
one major. Not one major, I should say. Which means you're making all the music. Most of the publishing and the royalties are going to them. They
Yep. And
control
they
what
gonna
you
keep
put
your
out.
shit.
Right. They control what you put out. Okay. And it's crazy to me. And it's
I
amazing
think
to
that
me.
I think black people fucked up when we gave them our when we wanted to get into their music game so badly with rap. You know what I mean? It's like we wanted
Hmm.
to get in there and make money and be part of the music industry and shit like that. That we kind
Right.
of like basically sold out. Now, if we would have just been selling radio, selling tapes or whatever albums out of our car and made it independent, and then got
Hmm.
made branches out of that and continue on to do movies and,
Well,
and
I'm
videos
so
and
happy
so
you brought it
forth.
up. I'm so happy
Hmm.
you brought that up. I'm gonna name
Yo,
these names.
yo, for
Uh,
real?
Jay Prince. Hold on, sir. Jay Prince. Michael. God, people be cutting me up, throwing me up. Jay
I'm sorry,
Prince.
I didn't mean to.
No, not you. Jay Prince. Give me a second, Haitian God. Jay Prince. Haitian. God damn it. Jay Prince. Suge Knight. Dame
Hmm.
Dash. And Irv Gotti. They all were putting together, having a meeting to do a black-owned distribution network, right? Well, here's what
Hmm.
happened. Suge Knight got arrested, went to prison. Jay Prince got harassed, got sued, almost went to prison. Irv Gotti lost everything through a lawsuit.
Mm.
And of course, Dame Dash got pushed out by Jay Z and his white friends.
Yeah.
And by the way, all of this happened within the span of 2 years. They destroyed these guys. These guys were about to do something amazing, revolutionary, right? Which would have redirected the wealth that they were producing back into their
Right.
communities. They decided to say, nope, we're going to stop that. Back in 1990, I got you, Haitian God. There was a meeting that was done. I think it was with Busy Bone or Crazy Bone or something. There's a
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. I think I might put it up. He said he went to a meeting and they said, we're going to use hip hop. You need to invest in prisons. And he's like, why should why would I invest in stuff like that? He said, because we're going to use hip hop to build that. We're
Wow.
going to use, and he said, right after that was the birth of gangster rap.
Right.
And
Sure.
then you
Yes.
take a look at that time up until now, and then look at the time previous to that, and see how many black men have gone to jail. See how many
Yeah.
police officers that they music influences you.
It
You know what I'm
does.
saying?
It
So, matter
definitely
of fact, let me see
does.
if I can find it on YouTube. I'm
And we
about to
need
put
to
on
get
YouTube.
that
Go
shit
ahead,
away
Haitian
from our
God.
children.
Yeah. Like I
Yep.
wanted to say is that it seemed like selling your soul to them, you because they
Yeah.
use you to act as your ancestors' slaves, and then they have you jumping around like a monkey to generate all your energy to prove your best abilities
Yeah.
in the sport, in the movies, everything. And then we just act like show them who we are. Even the rap music,
Show
show
them.
them how
Yeah.
aggressive we are.
There you
It's
go.
like everything we do,
I found it.
the better we do it, the more we selling our soul, showing them who we really are, how to treat us. We give them the trick, how to
Uh,
behave, how behavior, everything.
temperature. Right.
So
This is Crazy
we need
Bone.
to stop
My bad.
that. That's the thing. We need to stop
Yeah.
giving them the secret. How look, for example, rappers talking about what's going on in their hood. They're
Yeah.
listening, they're
That's
learning
nobody's
from.
business.
You know
They
what I
Yeah,
shouldn't
Nah,
but
mean?
but
even
it's
be
watch
it's
this
doing
not
though.
that.
just it's not just showing them. They have monetized us.
Uh-huh. Exactly. But look at this guy. I want you guys to pay attention to this. And temperature, maybe you might want to pay attention. You said, why did music executives invest in rap in prison? How do you know if they did it or not? How do you know, bro? Not everybody is for you that looks like you know what I mean? And by the way, you know who the real executives are, sir? Are people like Lear Cohen, are people like the guy from uh Interscope Records, the
Tommy
people from
Mottola.
like Tommy Mottola from Sony. Like, it's not the Puffies, it's not the Jay Z's, it's not the other people you see, bro. It's the guys who literally control at the very top. You don't see those guys. They're not rapping. They're
Yeah.
not talk about shooting my bank. Matter of fact, I'm about to play another video after this with 50 Cent said he was in the meeting with Jimmy Iovine, and Jimmy Iovine said, if you guys talk about street shit, don't talk about it in front of me because I will snitch. They're not from your
Yeah.
culture. So they promote your shit.
Exactly.
But watch this meeting that Crazy Bone went to. Watch this shit, y'all.
Okay.
The secret meeting that changed rap music and destroyed a generation.
Damn.
So it says, hello. After more than 20 years, I finally decided to tell the world what I witnessed in 1991, which I believe was one of the biggest turning points in popular music and ultimately American society. I have struggled for a long time weighing the pros and cons of making my story public, as I was reluctant to implicate the individuals who were present that day. So I've simply decided to leave out the names and all the details that may risk my personal well-being and that of those who were, like me, dragged into something they weren't ready for.
Damn.
Hold on, let me
So we gonna tell a story.
we gonna tell the story. We ain't scared.
You know what I'm saying? What they gonna do?
They after us, not just playing.
Look, that black van.
So look, so he says, between the late 80s and early 90s, I was what you may call a decision maker with one of the more established companies in the music industry. I came to Europe in the early 80s and quickly established myself in the business. The industry was different back then, since technology and media weren't accessible to people like that, like they are today. The industry had more control over the public and had the means to influence them any way it wanted.
Right.
This may explain why in early 1991, I was invited to attend a closed-door meeting with a small group of business insiders to discuss rap music's new direction. Rap music's new direction.
Yeah.
Little did I know we would be asked to participate in one of the most unethical and destructive business practices ever seen.
Crazy.
So this was the meeting. The meeting was held at a private residence on the outskirts of Los Angeles. I remember about 25 to 30 people were being there.
Right.
Most of them familiar faces. Speaking of those I knew, we joked about the theme of the meeting, as many of us did not care for rap and failed to see the purpose of being invited to a private meeting to discuss the future of hip-hop.
Talk to him.
Among the attendees was a small group of unfamiliar faces who stayed to themselves and made no attempt to socialize beyond their circle. Based on their behavior and formal appearances, they didn't seem to be from our industry. Our casual chatter was interrupted when we were asked to sign a confidentiality agreement preventing us from publicly discussing the information presented during the meeting. Needless to say, this intrigued, in some cases, disturbed many of us. The agreement was only a page long, but very clear on matters and consequences, which stated that violating the terms would result in job termination immediately. We asked several people what this meeting was about and the reason for such secrecy, but could not find anyone who had the answers for us. A few people refused to sign and walked out. Nobody stopped them. I was tempted to follow, but curiosity got the best of me.
That's right.
A man who was part of the unfamiliar group collected all the agreements from us. So now it's going to get to the good part because the meeting about to start.
Talk to him, Jake.
It says, quickly after the meeting began, hold on one second.
Get your popcorn, y'all.
Popcorn, get your pistol. No,
For real, though.
Quickly after this meeting began, one of the industry colleagues, who shall remain nameless like everybody else, thanked us for attending. He then gave the floor to a man who only introduced himself by first name and gave no other details about his personal background. I think he was the owner of the residence, but that was never confirmed. He briefly praised all of us for the success we had achieved in our industries and congratulated us for being selected as part of this small group of decision makers. At this point, I began to feel slightly uncomfortable and the strangeness of this gathering. The subject quickly changed as the speaker went on to tell us that the respective companies we represented had invested in a very profitable industry, which could become even more rewarding with our active involvement.
Damn.
He explained that the companies we worked for had invested millions into the building of
That was strange. Hold on, my bad.